Good evening. You're welcome to Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemeni Amano. Our top stories. Tonight, Ghana bids farewell to its First Lady of the Fourth Republic, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Reflections of the somber event that laid her to rest. Also tonight, more debate on the outcome of the Kwandai election petition as majority-minority spar over the High Court's ruling. But also tonight, the minority bears his teeth at the Speaker for referring their leader to the Privileges Committee. And 6 Ghana Immigration Service officers interdicted and under investigation for gross misconduct. Tonight, we'll hear more about why. But also tonight, the courts may have just brought a family feud to an end and just maybe paving the way for the final funeral rites of high life musician Daddy Lumba. Let's get into the details of that. You're live on TV3 on 392.7 FM. You may also be watching us on Facebook, X.com, YouTube, and 3news.com. If you'd like to be a part of the program, remember to use the hashtag Ghana Tonight alongside your comments, your questions, or your thoughts. We'll start with the nice news summaries.
The remains of the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings have been interred at the National Memorial Section of the Military Cemetery next to former Secretary General of the United Nations Kofi Annan at Bema Camp in Accra. The Ghana Armed Forces led a procession to the National Memorial Section of the Military Cemetery at Bema Camp after the burial service at the Black Star Square. The clergy ushered the remains of Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings into the bosom of the Lord and sought eternal rest for her. The Kumasi High Court has ruled that both Priscilla Ofori, popularly known as Odobroni, and Akosua Sewa Fosu are the customary married wives of the late High Life icon Daddy Lumba. The judgment delivered by Justice Dorinda Smith-Arthur dismissed the plaintiff request to be declared as the only surviving wife. The majority chief has criticized attempts by the minority to attack the reputation of the Tamale High Court judge who presided over the Kwandai parliamentary election petition. The minority leader protested the delay of the full judgment despite assurances it would be ready by Friday. Meanwhile, the minority wants Speaker to reverse the referral of Appenyo Marking to the Privileges Committee.
We in the minority, we are here. And we demand the following: the immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse of process and an affront to justice. The passage of a resolution restoring Honorable Appenyo Marking's name to Ghana's ECOWAS delegation and affirming Ghana's commitment to the rule of law.
Families of over 200 suspects linked to the attack on the Environmental Protection Agency EPA team and some journalists at Dadwini in the Ashanti region demonstrated on Friday asking for the release of detainees. Dozens of suspects were picked up at Dadwini and Fidim during a combined police and military swoop. On the dawn of November 12, the suspects have been on remand for 2 weeks since the arrest. The Association of Ghana Industries is renewing calls for a comprehensive overhaul of the Public Procurement Act to ensure government spending directly supports Ghanaian manufacturers and the country's push towards a 24-hour economy. The call was made at the AGI 65th National Annual General Meeting and Job Fair in Accra.
A reform procurement regime that is being actioned must be intentional and channel public spending to Ghanaian manufacturers, will expand local production capacity as well as create the skill needed to support round-the-clock industrial operation and the 24-hour economy.
Former 11 Wonders head coach J.E. Sapon has cautioned coaches against taking up an appointment by the club, which is faced with a myriad of problems. Reflecting on his 20-day stint at 11 Wonders, J.E. Sapon opened up on the challenges he faced while at the helm.
If any coach dares to go there, you are digging your own grave.
Oh,
yeah, yes.
Are you not deterring people from going for that
no,
job?
no, you can go. I'm just speaking on TV. If you like, listen to me. If you don't like, it's not by force. That is my way of I'm telling you. In the Olympics, you are talking about Olympics, they have the management in place. So the management will talk to you. Other teams have management in place, they will talk to you. This one, I didn't see any management member. It was the team manager, myself, and the assistant coach.
Ghana Brief there for you. Now, we'll start off with our big ones tonight, and we're starting in Parliament, where the MPs are at it again over the Kwandai election petition. We also have a bonus for you because we'll discuss the referral of the minority leader to the Privileges Committee. Let's get into that now. Now, the debate over the Kwandai election petition ruling continued today in Parliament, despite MPs having a very busy day out of the chamber. Minority Leader Alexander Apenyo-Makin, among other things, is protesting the court's inability to release the full judgment today, as announced earlier. Let's take a listen.
How can the extract, the court order be ready, telling the whole world that you are no more an MP or directing an organ of state that go and conduct elections? But the substance that parties can look at and say, let me exercise my right, that one is not ready. I believe that our judiciary should help us the more and help the situation and bring certainty and clarity.
If you do.
Well, now what you've seen is the Majority Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dapiamepo, shortly after that exchange in the chamber, he addressed the press as well, arguing that the minority is wrong for attempting to dent the reputation of the judge who sat on the Kwandai petition in Tamale. He is demanding an apology.
You do not have the judgment, if you do not have the terms of the judgment, there is no way you can file grounds of appeal or a notice of appeal containing grounds of the appeal. So the attempt by the minority leader to claim on the floor of Parliament that the judge has done something untoward and that the Honorable Nina has been rather incapacitated in filing further processes is absolutely incorrect. There's a certain attempt to run the judge of the High Court under the bus or throw him under the bus. But we will not allow that. The battleground for rerun of this parliamentary elections is not in the foyer of Parliament, not a long press statement peddling or citing inaccurate facts. We are working, as we speak, NDC, we are working, we are in Kwandai. They won't come and campaign. When they lose, then they blame innocent people.
Meanwhile, executives of the NPP in the northern region say they will resist the ruling of the Tamale High Court annulling the Pandai parliamentary election. And that's where we are going right now. Correspondent Christopher Amwako sat through that news conference hours ago. He's joined us with a bit more on it. Christopher, now let's look at this call or position of the executives of the NPP in the northern region. Tell us a bit more about their stance on this.
Basically, what they are saying is that the ruling by the Tamale High Court, they do not support it, and that they think that it was an orchestration of the incumbent government, that is the NDC, to see that the numbers of the NPP further reduces in parliament. Apart from that, the ruling, they do not support it, and they do not recognize whatever that has been said by the presiding judge. For them, Matthew Nyindam remains the member of parliament for the Pandai constituency, and that is what they know. They have also indicated that the processes that led to the judge nullifying the Pandai constituency elections has to do with the fact that even before the judgment, they saw that the NDC in the Pandai constituency began jubilating days even before the judgment. And so they believe that the judgment was just twisted in favor of the NDC just so that they favor the NDC. But they are not perturbed because they are losing every legal means to ensure that the Pandai seat remains the MPPs, and that is what they are bent on getting.
I see. Did they explain what they mean by resisting the court's ruling?
Yes, they are resisting because, according to them, they don't recognize what the judge has said, because as far as they are concerned, the NDC went to court with some 41 polling stations, and they expected the judge to have addressed the issue regarding the 41 polling stations. And so nullifying the elections is something that they do not understand. First of all, they have also indicated that they won the 2024 parliamentary elections in Pandai, and even give instances and figures. According to them, the incumbent or the embattled, for now, let me put it that way, member of parliament, Matthew Nyindam, won convincingly with over 3,000 votes, according to them. And so that is what they know. Any other thing apart from this, they do not know. They have since filed an appeal, and that whatever means, they will ensure that the election does not even come on, because they are in court. And so they are hoping that until the court processes are fully exhausted, there is no way there could be any election in Pandai. So they are calling on their supporters to, as it were, calm down and believe in the leadership of the party in the region, believe in their legal team, such that they are able to carry this matter to wherever that it is supposed to go to.
Very well, Christopher, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for bringing us this story. Christopher Mwako is our Northern Region correspondent. We can now take a listen to one of the executives in the Northern Region.
We state clearly, without ambiguity, Honorable Matthew Nyindam remains the duly elected, sworn-in and sitting member of parliament for the Pandai constituency. This position has been publicly affirmed by the leadership of the party, the New Patriotic Party, confirmed by minority caucus in parliament, led by Honorable Afenyo Makin, most importantly, upheld by the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, who ruled only yesterday that it was premature to stop Honorable Matthew Nyindam from participating in the parliamentary process until the final determination of an appellate court. The sovereign mandate of the people of Pandai remains constitutionally intact. There are serious allegations that the ruling issued by His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Batplangbru was procured through high-level political interference involving the presidency and the leadership of the NDC, which has not been disputed. Ladies and gentlemen, we state responsibly that these allegations are already in the public domain. They are being openly discussed across multiple platforms. No categorical denial has been issued by any of the persons named. No official rebuttal has been offered by the presidency, the judiciary, or the NDC.
We just heard from Danjuma, who speaks for the NPP in the Northern region. Let's connect now with Professor Enoch Opoku-Ntuyi, governance and leadership expert. Prof, let's start off from happenings in Parliament, combine that with what we've just seen from the Northern region. Is the NPP flogging a dead horse in this instant?
Good evening and greetings to your viewers everywhere in the world. I think that that's a very important question, but I call it the legislative blooms. Because Jimmy Cliff said that everything in creation must obey a law. And if we have lawmakers and law interpreters bantering like this, then what would the ordinary person on the street do? So I just listened to Danjuma speaking, and it seems people are missing two things. So we need to educate our listeners in the first place. Now, the minority disagrees with a judgment of a judge on an issue. So there's something called appellate process. Now, the appellate process is what judiciary they go through when there's a petition. Do MPP have a case? I think they do have a case. What they are saying is that the person who petitioned the court challenged only 41 polling stations. So why a constituency? Why rerun? That's a solid question. Now, to go beyond that, and then talk about issues of breathtaking in its reach and alarming in its implications, that is the judgment, and that they are criticizing the judiciary and accusing them of acting in ways that undermine public confidence and serving the interests of their paymasters. So who are the paymasters of the judge? Remember that 5-6 months ago, few months ago, let's say a year ago, the same person who will go to the Supreme Court and within 4 hours, the case will be heard and there will be a ruling, a judgment, is accusing the judiciary of singing to the tune of their paymasters. So were they also paymasters at that time? These are questions that we should be asking dispassionately, removing politics from it. So the name of the game. What do you think? Well, I'll leave it to Ghanaians to decide on that. But the name of the game is evidence. So the question we should all be asking ourselves is that, did the evidence presented in court justify the sweeping order for a rerun? Now the judge said yes. If the minority disagree, it is very simple. You make an appeal. So there is a 30-day given by the judge for the Electoral Commission to have a rerun of election at Pandai. But the problem is that the appeal that they have done, it is not possible that the Electoral Commission will be able to do that. Now, that is different from the decision made by the Speaker in Parliament. The two are different, but if you listen to them, they are matching the two together, but the two are different. Parliament issue ruled by the Speaker is different from this judgment. The Speaker is saying that based on their rules and the regulations, if the court orders for a rerun, you have 7 days. So within the 7 days, he's still a member of Parliament until December 1st. That is different from the court order that within 30 days, the Electoral Commission should organize a rerun at Pandai.
But when you see how impassioned, right, the executives in the North are, does that worry you? Because we spoke to some residents in Pandai who are worried about how this could flare up the security situation there. What do you think?
Yes, I think that politics has got into the way of many things, and this should not be another issue. Of course, that place is now porous based on conflicts. We have pockets of conflicts out there. Now, with these elections, I'm told that, if you listen to some of the NDC individuals who spoke, that they're already there on the ground. And if MDP refuse to campaign and they lose, they should not come and blame anybody. I think that security should be beefed up at that place because the issue is still at court. So until there's a clear signal after the appeal, people should not be allowed to campaign at this time. And those will help a lot to bring peace at that place because we have the infighting from the minority and the majority. And if we go to the grassroots, we say that it is saka-saka. It's more dangerous at the grassroots than in the parliament because in the parliament, they can debate and argue on many issues. They can agree to disagree agreeably. And after that, they will go and drink sobolo or drink anything. At the grassroots, it's not like that. So we should be careful of the way we give those at the grassroots raw meat in issues like this. I think that we should allow the appellate process to take its course. And when it is clear from the court that they can do a rerun, then they can all move in there and start the campaigning.
And in being careful, that should start from Parliament where the debate is raging.
Definitely, because their leaders are models. They model the way for the others to follow. And if they are doing this, threatening the judiciary, talking about singing to the tune of their paymasters and all that, they undermine the integrity of judgment. And if we lose justice in this country, then there will be chaos.
I see. Away from this, but still in Parliament, we know that the minority is unhappy about the Speaker's referral of their leader to the Privileges Committee. In fact, we know that they have asked for a reversal of that decision. Let's take a listen to the Deputy Minority Leader. I'll come back to pick your thoughts on that matter.
All right.
The minority, we are here and we demand the following. The immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse, process, and an affront to justice. The passage of a resolution restoring Honorable Afenyo Markin's name to Ghana's ECOWAS delegation and affirming Ghana's commitment to the rule of law, an end to the coordinated persecution of the minority leader. A public apology from the Speaker and majority leader, to ECOWAS and to the people of Ghana for the international embarrassment.
Prof, a quick bite at this one.
Yes, minorities all over the world have never been happy. So if you say that minorities are not happy, no minority is happy. Everybody want to be on the majority side. But Afenyo Markin has been referred to the Privileges Committee, and the why is very important. Why was he referred to the Privileges Committee? Because he is alleged to have defied a parliamentary resolution that removed him from Ghana's delegation to ECOWAS Parliament. So if you've been removed by a resolution and you go there, then in what capacity are you going there? That makes you an imposter. That makes you unknown because the delegates that were selected to go, you were not selected. Now, it is alleged that he attended the ECOWAS Parliament session in Port Harcourt despite that resolution. And that is why the majority leader, Mahama Yarega, deemed that as contemptuous. So it's a very simple thing. Now, the Speaker ruled that there's a prima facie case against Afenyo Markin because he was not selected by that resolution. And he defied that order and went to Port Harcourt. Now, if it is found true that he did that, according to the Speaker, he has implicated the dignity and institutional integrity of Parliament. And that warrants the referral to the committee. Now, if all these are proven to be true, then the committee will investigate and report back to the House and potentially recommend sanctions if found guilty. So it's very simple.
So to speak.
Yes.
Prof, thank you so much for your insight on the subject matter. Professor...
Definitely.
Absolutely. Professor Enoch Opoku-Antwi is a governance and leadership expert. We've been discussing all things Parliament today, where there's a raging debate over the Kwandai election petition outcome, but also the referral of Alexander Afenyo Markin Afutu MP and Minority Leader to the Privileges Committee. Let's move on to the next now. families of the young people who were picked up by police in a joint police military raid are asking for their release. Let's get into that now. Tonight, at least 100 families are demanding immediate release of their relatives who were arrested in a joint police military raid in 2 communities in the Ashanti region. Now, these suspects, numbering about 200, are linked to the attack on the EPA team and some journalists at Dadjone and Hwediem in the Ashanti region 2 weeks ago. We can now connect with our Ashanti region correspondent who has this beat. Evans Inkum is joining us for that. Evans, we know in the last few hours, we're told that there's been some action after the families protested. Talk to us about that.
Well, Kamini, so on November 6th, there was an unfortunate incident that happened in Dadjone when a team from EPA together with some journalists, which of course included our own Ibrahim Abubakar, were attacked at Dadjone. It was on an exercise to clamp down on Chinese nationals together with their local collaborators who have been dealing with suspected illegal equipment. So that particular site was to clamp down, specifically to shut down their shops and what have you, just to cripple their business in order not to be able to supply these illegal equipment to the illegal miners. So at Dadjone, they were chased out. And in the course of that, they were involved in an accident at a ferry, which of course resulted in severe injuries of some of these journalists. So on 12th of November, the police military team stormed or swooped Dadjone, of course, which Hwediem also has a similar incident, of course, just a week to that unprovoked attack on the EPA and of course, journalists. Some 3 military personnel have also, from NIMOS, have also been attacked at Hwediem. So it was kind of a situation that was actually building up as far as illegal mining is concerned. So the police military team stormed Dadjone at the same time, Hwediem, just to clamp down on these suspects. So at Dadjone, where I joined the team, dozens of suspects were picked. It was around 2 a.m. and they were brought to the police depot at Patase for screening, after which a number of them were sent to courts and they were remanded to prison custody. So today, some family members from Dadjone stormed the Kumasi Central Prison to demand for the release of the detainees. Mind you that right after the arrest, that is on November 12,
right,
some relatives have also come out strongly to defend that the suspect had nothing to do with that November 6th attack.
I see. And in the last few hours, there's been an update on the situation. Some releases have been made. Talk to us about those.
Well, absolutely. So just a few hours after that demonstration, some of the suspects were released. I'm unable to tell you or give you the exact number of suspects that were released, but it was all joy especially to families who were seeing their relative for the very first time since 2 weeks.
Evans, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for staying on this beat for us. William Evans Inkum is our Northern Region Bureau Chief. He's also Ashanti Region correspondent. Now, a similar exercise was conducted in the Volta region. And when I say similar, there was a swoop, of course, for different reasons. In that swoop, over 71 suspects were picked up in Ehi, in the Ketu municipality, in connection with an attack on the community's police station. So it would appear that in that community as well, there is a police situation where people have had to be called for to be released on bail, because we know that those 71 people who were arrested in that swoop have now been granted bail. through the courts, right? Richard Kumado is a security analyst who's joining us now. We'll dig a bit further at this story. Richard, I want us to focus specifically on the Dadjuning and Shidiem story because those deal directly with illegal mining and the unfortunate attack on the EPA and journalists, including our own. What do you think is at play here? What is playing out before us?
Definitely. I've always maintained that it's not all crimes and it's not all offenders that will be released using the 48-hour rule as a standard procedure. It depends on the nature of the crime and the individuals involved and the exigencies of the time. But with this particular case, once they have been put before court and they have been put on remand, then it means that the state will have to work very hard, finish the investigations, and take them to court for the prosecutions to begin. I don't know the circumstances under which they were released tonight, but once some were released and some are still in custody, it means that investigations have not been completed and there's work in progress in that regard. It's also important to emphasize the point so strongly that I have warned severally that do not attack law enforcement officers when they are on official duty, because when they react, it comes with high levels of discomfort. And in this particular case, this is one of the things I have been warning about. I see. And you refer to not knowing the circumstances for which or around which they were released. But we know that earlier today there was a protest, right? And after the protest, then in the afternoon, the police now release some of them. Does it give you the impression that the relatives of these suspects perhaps do not understand the depths of the incident being linked to their people? Definitely, yes, because I can tell you that a mere demonstration by family members will not cause the police to release their family members to them, particularly when they have been put before court, and it is the court that put them on remand. And so something else might have happened. But it's also so clear that public education will be important more in this country, and awareness creation is something we need to continue. And until then we will be fighting ourselves unnecessarily when it has to do with law enforcement and it has to do with the court, because this is a clear case of lack of understanding. If they are agitating at the point when they have been arrested, then we can understand that when it comes to swoops, they arrest all manner of persons. And from the voter reading scenario you painted, they were screened and certain people were sent home. Or those guys who attacked the EPA box, certain people were sent home. And that is why we always advise that stay away from law enforcement zones, because if they go for sweep, they sweep all manner of persons. And until the proper screening is done, it will come with some high levels of discomfort to all the persons that have been picked up by the law enforcement officer. Having said that, it is my prayer and hope that going forward, they will speed up with the investigations, and those who participate actively in this particular crime under review will be dealt with according to its law. And those they will want to send home, they will send them home, and families will be educated why their wars has been arrested by the police and they are in court. I'm glad you mentioned the issue of speed, because I was going to ask also whether or not, if the police has a case, they deal with it. If they don't, they release the suspects. But you hold your thoughts for me. I want to connect now with our Volta region correspondent, Faisal Abdul-Idrisu, on that story about some 71 suspects who were initially arrested by the police, also in a raid in Ehi, in the Volta region. Now we know, Faisal, that some bail has been granted. Talk to us about that.
Yes, so the total number of persons arrested on Wednesday, November 12, is 191. The initial screening that was done at the police headquarters led to the release of a good number of them, over 100 of them. 71 of them were, however, kept in police custody when they made first appearance in court. Then yesterday, they appeared in court again with a lawyer who prayed the judge to pray the court to grant them bail and also allow them to have time with their lawyers while the the investigations continue. The court has directed since that now that they are going back to Eki, they should, between now and January 15th, at what point they will be making another appearance in court, make sure that they report, each of them report to the Ketu North Police Command. They should report to the commander on the 15th, 1 month from yesterday, they should report to the police there and then make another appearance in court on January 15th. And so yesterday, 71 of them, who were the last batch of persons kept in custody, were granted bail. Now, let me tell you what really accounted for these raid in Ketu North, to be precise. On the 9th of November 5, police report says that a gentleman was in their custody. This gentleman was said to have murdered another fellow in the community during an altercation. Now, some irate youth went to the police station to demand the release of the suspect in custody, apparently to lynch him. And so the police resisted this approach from the irate youth, and this is the reason why the youth confronted the police and it went violent. The police are telling us that 2 of their vehicles have been vandalized, and then their police posts have also been vandalized. There was the issue of the police station being set ablaze, but that has since been said not to be the case. Yesterday, the member of parliament for Ketu North, Edem Agbana, who was deeply involved in ensuring that these 71 persons are granted bail, indicated strongly that the issue of the police post being set ablaze is neither here nor there, and wanted to clear that clearly enough.
Faisal, thank you so much for the reporting and staying up this late for it. Faisal Abdul-Idrisu is our Volta region correspondent. Richard, I want to pick your thoughts quickly on this subject, and then I'll take my first break here on the program. It would appear that the police is very busy ahead of the festivities, the Christmas festivities.
Not really, Gamini. You want to play.
You don't think they are busy enough?
No, Gamini, you want to do your conspiracy again. No. Let's say that the attack on the police is increasingly becoming a worry to the state. Persons in communities mobilizing themselves to attack police stations is something we should not encourage. We should discourage it. And when they get into those areas, you are attacking the core and the soul of the state. And the state will respond by reacting, and the police will come after you irrespective of whoever you are. I want to say that do not attack law enforcement officers in line with duty. Even if you think they've made a mistake, do not attack them. Because when you do so, and they decide to react, it comes with some high levels of discomfort, and people should stop attacking the police stations.
But hear me out. Right? I think you got me completely wrong this time. What I was saying was a good thing, that the police are busy keeping law and order. And that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you so much for tonight. Richard Kumado is a security analyst. We've just been looking at some police military activities in keeping law and order and particularly protecting our mining communities. We'll take our very first break. When we come back, reflections of the final funeral rites of Ghana's First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, will also enter the courts again and talk about the ruling that will lead to the performance of the final funeral rites of High Life icon Daddy Lumba. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still Ghana Tonight live on TV3 and on 392.7 FM. I'm Kemini Amano. Now, the Ghana Immigration Service has interdicted 6 officers over a viral video showing the officers verbally assaulting a supervisor or a superior officer. Now, we know that the superior officer, a deputy commissioner of immigration, was a passenger on a commercial vehicle when the incident occurred 3 days ago at Ofinso Inland Checkpoint, where the officers were on duty. According to the service, the behavior captured in the video, including verbal assault, lack of civility, and open disrespect toward a superior, fails or falls far below the standards expected of a Ghana Immigration Service personnel. Now, while I'm unable to show you said video now, I have Deputy Director Public Affairs, Deputy Superintendent of Immigration Barbara Sam joining us over the telephone. Deputy, tell us about this gross misconduct referred to in your statement.
Okay, so in the Immigration Code of Conduct, where we have our values and what is expected of every immigration officer when it comes to attitude towards senior officers, colleague officers, and even the members of the public, our officers breached that. You could see in the video that they were verbally assaulting a gentleman who introduced himself as a deputy comptroller general. No, a deputy commissioner, a deputy commissioner. So one would have thought that just the mention of his rank would make them change their attitude, but that rather got them infuriated and they rather continued verbally assaulting him. So that was what the video is all about.
I see. Now, what does interdiction of these officers mean in ordinary parlance?
It means that they are not allowed to go to wear immigration uniform or conduct any function on behalf of the service, and they are also not allowed to go closer to any immigration installation, and their salaries, they receive 2/3 of their salaries.
I see. How long are they on interdiction for?
I cannot put a timeline on it, but investigations have started in earnest, and very soon the recommendation would come out. So I cannot say 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, but it has started, and very soon the results will come out, and then the service can take a decision on that.
Deputy, thank you so much for your time. Deputy Superintendent of Immigration Barbara Sam, she speaks also for the Ghana Immigration Service. Let's move on to something else real quick. I'm running out of time. It is now clear who gets to perform widowhood rites for High Life icon Daddy Lumba, known by his government name, Charles Kwadwo Fosu. The court says both his wives, Akosua Sewa Fosu and Priscilla Ofori, whose customary marriages are recognized, should be able to perform widowhood rites. Now, you may recall the plaintiff, Akosua Sewa, asserted that she was legally married to Lumba in Germany, asking the court to agree and declare her the only lawful wife. Let's take a listen to lawyer for Priscilla Ofori, Fatih Ali.
Oh, I think it is fair because it's a win-win situation for all. Both women are wives, which is very paramount. This is the peace that Daddy Lumba so much desired. And we are hopeful that 13th December, he'll be buried.
I disagree, but I respect it.
So going for that, do you have anything to do?
It will depend on what my client says. You see, when my client says that, I should appear away.
What I did not tell you also is that you hear from William Kusi, who is lawyer for Akosua Sewa Fosu. So it would seem as though we're headed for a resolution as far as the funeral of the High Life icon is concerned. But away from that, I want to tell you what to expect on hot issues this Sunday, because I sat down with the chairman of the National Peace Council and we touched on important issues in this nation. One of those issues, religious tolerance in our senior high schools, and the recent incidents that we have had reported to us in the media or in the social space. Let's take a listen to that engagement, just a sneak peek.
If somebody, a parent, sends a child to a particular school, it is because of what that school stands for. If it stands for certain values, it is because those values have been inculcated in the students by that particular faith group. And so others want to go to that school. So the moment you want your child to come out with the same values as you see in those who have been there before, it means your child also needs, you as a parent must make the right choice.
Most Reverend, you know that in today's placement, secondary school placement, sometimes students are placed in these places.
But they are placed because they have chosen it. And they and their parents are given the form and they choose where they want to go.
So I get the sense that the Peace Council does not see any problem with the situation at hand.
Not the Peace Council alone, but having had meetings or held stakeholder meetings, the various faith groups that have schools, so Christians, Muslims, they have seen that this is the way to go.
I see.
Because they all signed the Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay.
After a long period of studying the document and all that, they all signed it.
We have also come to understand that in this Memorandum of Understanding, there is religious place of worship, which says that in the case of religious place of worship, mission-based schools could make available space of worship in toleration of diverse religious groups. Well, I can show you everything. As some people said, if I do all now, what will I do when I will leave it there? But join me on Sunday, okay? Hear me out. Join me on Sunday, 1 p.m. We will see the full interview with Most Reverend Emmanuel Kofi Fianu, who is chairman of the National Peace Council. Right now, I do want to show you reflections of that funeral ceremony today of Ghana's former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, in pictures. I will see you same time next week. Remember, there's key points at 7 a.m. These pictures were taken by our award-winning photographer, Clifford Usu. Clifford, you take good pictures. Take pictures of me as well. I'll see you sometime. Bye-bye.
To you by